Hello, nerds and nerdettes, and the OPB family. It is your fellow nerd coming at you from the Illuminerdi YouTube channel with a guest review on the beautiful, recently released or reprinted Immortal Iron Fist and the Immortal Weapons Omnibus by Marvel. First and foremost, I would like to thank Organic Priced Books for allowing me to review this book on their behalf. But without further ado, we can go ahead and jump into the review. Bars. The cover price of this omnibus is $125, and it does have a page count of 1,048 pages. You are looking currently at the DM variant cover, the standard edition cover being the cover that they originally used on previous printings. The cover price of $125 seems somewhat standard these days for books that are around 900 to 1,000 pages. So not too bad there, but we can go ahead and jump into some overhead shots, take a look at the beautiful art, as well as talk a little bit about the story and kind of the contents of the book overall. And once again, here we are, the Immortal Iron Fist and the Immortal Weapons Omnibus OPB family. We do have the DM variant cover here, which is absolutely beautiful. And then we will take a look at the spine. Great image of Iron Fist there. Very beautiful, bright white spine. And then on the back, we have kind of a iconic at this point image of Iron Fist. You pretty much see this everywhere that Iron Fist is talked about. If there's a video, biography, a wiki, typically you're going to see that image. But we can get under the dust jacket and take a look at the board itself and then get into the book. And here we are under the dust jacket, a very similar piece underneath to the Black Panther omnibuses, which is some images and covers from the run, kind of placed in a stylistic manner with a kind of wash of the characters' colors over the top. But enough talk about the way the book looks, let's get into it. We do have some green end pages, very fitting to the character. Of course, a title page. Is that to Iron Fist? You may have to dive deeper to actually find out. And then we do have the table of contents, which gives a brief hint into some potential required reading before diving in. And then we get into the first issue of the book, which is the Civil War issue, Choosing Sides for Iron Fist. A little bit of a odd connection here, but we'll get into that a little bit. So overall, the book is probably Iron Fist, or the run itself is probably Iron Fist's most acclaimed run. It's also one of his few actual self-titles, not counting Heroes for Hire, where he has a supporting cast or anything like that. This is strictly Iron Fist, his world, his cast, his story. Not really that many other intertwining stories that really have to do with Marvel, honestly. The only thing that I would probably say required reading before getting into this, I would probably say the Ed Brubaker run on Daredevil, just because you do have a couple appearances of characters that do appear in that specific run on the character of Daredevil. And I would also say it may not hurt to read the event Civil War, just so you kind of know, at least in the beginning of the omnibus, where Danny Rand is, kind of what he's doing, where he stands, pertaining to what the event Civil War kind of covers. And that's really the only required reading I would recommend. And even then, I am only loosely recommending that because this is great as a standalone story. It does not involve a lot of the Marvel Universe, which is absolutely great for new readers. So if you are a new reader and you want to get into the character of Iron Fist, this is a great starting point, a great jumping on point, because of its lack of involvement in the Marvel Universe and the Marvel characters. This is also great for just Iron Fist fans in general, if you guys haven't read it already, because honestly, this is where you're going to get most of the lore and backstory that pertains to the character of Danny Rand, how he became Iron Fist, how the title of Iron Fist works and what it represents. This is the run to truly get that, but there is no lack of action throughout these pages either. It is absolutely a kung fu slobber knocker through most of the story. You are still getting the kung fu kind of mystic level of storytelling that Iron Fist is kind of known for, if not to the best degree that we've ever seen it, because this is really the run that kind of established that level of storytelling. You do have Matt Fraction and Ed Brubaker on writing duties. Ed Brubaker, I feel like a lot of the aspects of the book that he writes do have a little bit of a darker tone, a little bit more lore involved, while Matt Fraction is much more of the fun, action-packed kind of story that some readers may kind of crave when hearing about the character of Iron Fist. Pertaining to art, you do have David Aja, who's probably the most known for his art during the Hawkeye Matt Fraction run, but this feels very much different from that title. It is not as stylistically kind of drawn the way he did Hawkeye. I feel like his drawing throughout is much more grittier, much more loose. It's not as planned out, or doesn't feel as planned out as the art that he was giving to us during the Hawkeye run, because that was very theatrical and very much planned to kind of have the purple color scheme throughout, the targets and everything like that taking place and making an appearance. In this, he's kind of just drawing. He's delivering the best art he can during this period of time in his career, and he does absolutely that. I think during most of the points where he is giving art, it is very much gritty and very fitting to the story, because this is a somewhat grounded and gritty kind of story compared to other Marvel stories, just because of the fact that Iron Fist, while he does have superpowers, he is not the American hero like Captain America or a godlike being like Thor. He is a man that has special abilities, but they are not to the level that you are probably used to seeing in a comic book world, which is of course great and makes this book feel so much more different and so much like a breath of fresh air, because of the fact we don't have aliens, gods, entities that our hero is coming up against. To a certain extent, if you're seeing on the page now, there is still a slight bit of that, but it's much more of martial artists taking on one another and standing toe-to-toe, taking on somewhat evil organizations and stopping them from committing their sinister plans. Just kind of a aspect of storytelling in the Marvel Universe that you may come to expect from Ed Brubaker's run on Captain America, something along those lines, or a Daredevil story, which I think is absolutely great, and as I said, a breath of fresh air getting into it. You do have the Immortal weapons aspect of the story as well, which is beautiful, a lot of fun. You get one-shots for each of the Immortal weapons, which I don't want to spoil too much about them and that story, just for those of you that do want to dive in and take a read. But this is the definitive Iron Fist run for most people. I don't think that is a hot take to be saying that, and it is absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it for anyone that is a Marvel fan, anyone that likes characters like Daredevil or Captain America. I highly recommend to take a dive, check out this omnibus, read this story. It is so worth it. Getting into some of the extras, we of course have the script, a little bit about the script, some artwork from David Aja, some early work pertaining to the character designs, as well as some kind of virgin drawings with no inks, a little bit of color. Very good stuff. He's a very talented artist and lends his hand well to this. This is one of my favorite aspects of the extras, that big splash page that you get early on, just how much detail, grit, and grime that comes across through his art. But that does wrap up the review on the book. I tried to stay away from spoilers as much as I could. Obviously, through the art, there may be a couple here and there, but definitely give it a look. Check out the book. Let me know what you guys think. Let Organic Price Books know what you guys think in the comment section below. But other than that, we can circle back to the table with some closing thoughts and kind of an overall rating or what I think of the book. And welcome back, nerds and OPB family. If you can't tell, I am a very huge fan of this run on the character of Iron Fist. Matt Fraction and Ed Brubaker kind of sharing writing duties on opposite sides of the spectrum. Matt Fraction really kind of stretching his creative legs, having a lot of fun with the kung fu kind of style or world that Iron Fist exists in, almost creating a love letter to classic kung fu movies in a way. And Ed Brubaker really fleshing out the character of Danny Rand and Iron Fist, really making sure you understand his origin and exactly what makes him tick as a character. Very good stuff here. If you are a fan of Iron Fist, the show on Netflix, whatever it may be, this is definitely some required reading. A lot of topics that are kind of explored in other titles or the show are pretty much established during this run. A lot of the lore behind Iron Fist takes place in this run, not even necessarily his pre-existing runs that he's kind of been a part of, being somewhat of an obscure character up to this specific title. But this is probably arguably the best starting point for Iron Fist in general, if not at least the best modern starting point for Iron Fist. Very good stuff. Art is immaculate. Writing is beautiful. It's a lot of fun. It really fleshes out characters, the main character of Danny Rand, as well as his supporting cast, and really makes you just understand the story while having a bit of fun throughout. But I cannot recommend it any higher. It is absolutely an amazing fun. It's so comic booky, and you definitely need to check it out. And if you want to, you know where to head, Organic Price Books, and get yourself a copy. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. Comment down below what you felt about the book, about the run in general. And of course, as always, stay nerdy.